The movie begins with a peaceful village where people live contentedly, introducing us to one of the village boys named Thorfinn. Thorfinn harbors a deep admiration for a fellow villager. One day, he ventures into the pasture to spend time with her. Meanwhile, we see Thorfinn's younger brother foraging in the forest. There, he stumbles upon a peculiar man playing the flute. Now Thorfinn's brother goes to him while looking at that man. Then we notice that that man was not looking like a human because his teeth were just like a wolf. Moreover, that man's name was also Wolfstan. Now that boy, i.e. Thorfinn's brother, is talking to Wolfstan. Then suddenly a lot of werewolves come from the jungle, seeing whom the boy gets very scared and wakes up. Because his death is right in front of him. Now Wolfstan suddenly pulls out his teeth and we are not shown what happened here. Now we can only hear the screams of Thorfinn's brother and his basket falls down. Now Thorfinn also hears his screams. But now because he is with his friend, he does not pay much attention to it. Meanwhile, a lot of werewolves start entering the village. They attack the whole village and start killing everyone one by one. Those werewolves also enter the area where Thorfinn and his friend were. Now Thorfinn sees them and hides himself, but his friend remains there. Because of which the werewolves kill his friend. After that Thorfinn comes out of the cattle area and starts calling his brother. But he could not see his brother anywhere. Because as we know that some time ago some werewolves have killed him. Here Thorfinn also sees that a lot of werewolves are attacking the village. They have wreaked havoc in the whole village. There is chaos everywhere. That's why Thorfinn saves his life and hides in one place. After that Thorfinn runs and quickly goes inside the house. Where he sees that his father is lying there in a very injured condition. Then Thorfinn's father tells him to run away from there. Because there is a lot of danger here, but in the meantime a werewolf comes there. As soon as he sees him, Thorfinn hides in one place. Now that werewolf kills his father. Seeing his father dying in front of his eyes, Thorfinn is very sad and very scared. And he runs out of there in fear. But then suddenly he falls down and falls unconscious. When Thorfinn comes to his senses, the village chief and a church father are in front of him. And they tell Thorfinn that now you are completely alone. Because the werewolves have killed your whole family. And not only your family, but more than half of the village has been killed. And we are very sorry that we all have suffered the same loss. That is, we lost our families. In the next scene, the chief is shown to us in his house. But then 4 brave men come to him. And the chief did not call these 4 because they were warriors. The name of the senior man in them was Hall and the rest were his companions. Now the chief gives a task to those 4. That they go to the king of the village on the jungle and give this message. That wolves have attacked our village. We are helpless. We need your help. The chief also tells them that this jungle is so dangerous that it is not easy to cross it. Because whoever goes there, he does not come back alive and is killed. But now because he was the bravest man in that area, he was not afraid of this. As soon as they start going for their mission, Thorfinn comes there and says that I also want to go with you. Because I know every way of that jungle. And once I also went there with my father. Then they agree to take him with them. After this, the chief gives Thorfinn an axe and says that it was your father's. After this, they move forward to go on their mission. Here one of their companions also joins them. After this, they set out on their journey to reach their destination. Now while walking, they reach the same jungle from where they had to pass. After going ahead, they see a dead body of a child hanging from the tree. The dead body was in a very bad condition because all the flesh was missing from his body. Now Thorfinn looks at that dead body carefully. Then he finds out that this is his brother's dead body. Seeing which Thorfinn panics a lot and starts vomiting. After this, they again move forward on their journey. Now while walking like this, it is night for them. That's why they light a fire and sit there to spend the night. Where they all start talking to each other. They start telling each other about themselves. Now after a while, everyone else goes to sleep. But the Hall was awake, he was not sleepy. Then Thorfinn has a nightmare because of which his eyes open. After this, he sits near the Hall and starts talking to him. But then suddenly he hears the sound of the flute playing. Then they both get up quickly and go to check. But going ahead, they see that the wolf stand is sitting there. And he was the one who was playing the flute. And then suddenly he calls his other companions, i.e. werewolves, there. Which attack the Hall and Thorfinn. Now because of this turmoil, the rest of them also open their eyes. And they all start fighting the werewolves. They compete with them. The other senior warrior also kills a lot of werewolves. But in the meantime, all the werewolves kill another warrior. After this, the werewolves pick up the warrior and take him with them. They take them straight to a cave. Here the wolf stand tells a warrior that you also join us. Become like us. That is, I also make you a werewolf. With which your life will also be saved. Now because he did not want to die, he accepts this offer. And the wolf stand does the same. As he said, he attacks him and makes him a werewolf. There the hall says that now we should go from here. On which Thorfinn replies that I will not go from here without taking the other two warriors. Saying this, Thorfinn goes alone to find them. Then after a while, he finds them and goes to a cave. Where all the werewolves were sleeping. Then Thorfinn finds his one warrior companion. He opens his hands and starts taking him away from there. At the same time, he also kills a werewolf with an axe. But after hearing the voice, all the werewolves wake up. In which one of his companions was also included. Whom the wolf stand had made a werewolf. Now his companion also moves forward to attack him. But Thorfinn succeeds in coming out of the cave with his companion. Now that senior warrior was very much injured. That is why the hall says that we should leave this warrior here and move forward. Then the other warrior says that no, this decision will not be right. We will have to take it with us. Then those people move forward with the help of their injured companion. Now they walk for a long time and then they reach a house. There he sees a man and a woman who were both husband and wife. After this, these people ask for help from that couple. Now first that man refuses to help them. But then after a lot of insistence, he agrees. He says that my wife will cure your companion's injury. Because she knows a lot of remedies. After this, the two husband and wife take them inside the house. After going inside the house, the hall and that man go to speed up the weapons. And that woman gives food to the other warriors. But there was poison in the food, which one warrior starts suffering after eating. There the man who has gone with the hall, he also starts fighting with the hall. And he injures him a lot. But the hall, because he was more powerful, so he catches him and kills him. Outside Thorfinn sees a secret way, which was actually a door. When he opens it, he sees some men there. Who were very injured and they were tied. There the warrior is suffering because of the poison. But then two arrows come on his chest and enter. And that arrow was burning Wolfstan. Then he also kills the senior warrior with an arrow and injures him. Now his two warriors are killed together. And the hall, which was very injured. And in the meantime, a lot of werewolves come there. Which attacks Thorfinn and the hall. They both keep fighting with them for a long time with a lot of bravery. And they also succeed in killing two werewolves. After killing them, they both start running away from there. But then suddenly Wolfstan shoots an arrow at the hall and injures him a lot. Seeing this, Thorfinn gets very scared and starts screaming. Now the hall tells Thorfinn to run away from here by saving his life. Because I am very injured and anyway I have to die after a while. Then Thorfinn agrees to this and runs away from there. After his departure, Wolfstan shoots a lot of arrows at the hall. While running, rocks come in front of Thorfinn and he starts climbing those rocks. Sometimes falling, sometimes carefully, he somehow reaches the top of the rock. Now there was a castle right in front of his eyes, which was of that king. To whom the chief had sent him. Now Thorfinn goes inside that castle, which was completely deserted. And there were some werewolves there who were watching him secretly. After going ahead, Thorfinn sees Wolfstan there. He laughs at Thorfinn and says that you have come, the king is waiting for you. Hurry up and go to the roof. Now Thorfinn goes ahead and starts climbing the stairs. But there were werewolves sitting on those stairs too. Now Thorfinn goes to the roof where he meets the king. Now here we are revealed that the king is behind all this. All those werewolves are the companions of the king, whom the king has kept in his palace. After this, the king takes Thorfinn to the basement below, where the hall was closed in an injured state. It means that despite being so injured, he was also alive. And here another secret is revealed, and that is that Hall is actually the king's son. But because of his father's cheap actions, he left the house. He was against his father. That's why he announced his rebellion against his father. And that's why he was still killing those werewolves by becoming a warrior. Now here Wolfstan gives the same offer to Thorfinn that you too become a guinea werewolf like us or die. Now Thorfinn agrees to become like them to keep himself alive. But Hall forbids him to do so. On the matter, the king pierces his own son, that is, Hall's mother's sword and kills him. After this, Wolfstan attacks Thorfinn and makes him his own, that is, a werewolf. Now Thorfinn gets up and takes out the sword from Hall's mouth. He attacks Wolfstan's hand with that sword. After this, he goes to the roof where the king was standing. Now Wolfstan also follows him. But here Thorfinn kills him. That is, he was still a human. After this, the werewolves attack Thorfinn. But after fighting for a long time, Thorfinn kills a lot of werewolves. But then suddenly two big, dangerous werewolves come from behind. They catch Thorfinn and take him to the basement, where the king kills Thorfinn and makes him feel bad. But then Thorfinn gets up and attacks the king and makes him a werewolf. That is, now the king had also become a werewolf. After this, Thorfinn dares and kills the remaining werewolves. After this, he attacks the king's throat and takes out his head in his hand. Then he looks towards the castle where there was no one because he had killed all the werewolves. In the next scene, Thorfinn takes the king's head to his village, where he also tells the chief that I have killed all the werewolves. And he throws a sword in front of the chief and says that only one last werewolf is left. And that werewolf is none other than me. And then the chief picks up the sword, attacks Thorfinn's throat and removes. Then he starts shouting there that Thorfinn is our hero. All the people present there also start shouting that Thorfinn is our hero. With this scene, this movie ends here. Thank you for watching.